so I'm out here and I just finished cutting up the pipes to the measurements that I thought that would be correct. And for the first half, it was pretty easy because all I had to do was just measure from the header to right around here. I didn't want to go all the way to here because I wanted to be able to move the pipe in and out. So I went right around here, and that was easy. So I went ahead and cut those off. And for this one, it was pretty difficult to get a measurement, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I got this cut, and my tools that I'm using to cut these is a skill saw with a cutoff wheel, 7-inch circular cutoff wheel, and to grind off the, to deburr it, I just basically use the disc. To deburr the inside, what I do is I actually put this portion here on the inside, and I kind of, see if I can do this with one hand to show you, kind of make sure that that's inside and that the disc is up against the pipe, and then I actually take this and force it up against, you can see here, forcing up against the pipe, and it actually deburrs it nicely, makes it really nice and clean. And of course the outside I just do it with the cutoff wheel going all the way around, so it's nice and clean and smooth so that I can have the installation go smoothly. And of course I mark the top so that I don't get mixed up. So that's pretty much the setup. Now I'll show you how much I cut off. As far as cutting off, on the front half of the pipe I cut this much off, and the second half, so you can see how much longer Pypes made the setup so that you can adjust it depending on the car that it's going to be installed on. Now for the installation, or for the measurement, the mock-up, it was kind of hard because, you see, I'm working by myself. I don't have any help, and I'm also working on my back. And I am using one jack to hold up the X-pipe setup, and I'm using this jack to hold the muffler. And the rest, since it's not bolted up or anything, the only thing that's holding the pipe is that one hanger right there. That's the only hanger that's holding the setup in the back here. And I have to try to figure out where the pipe is supposed to go with the muffler so that I can get a measurement to cut the pipe, the X-pipe section. And it's kind of hard, but because my arms are so long, I can actually, with the use of this, hold the top end where I would want it. I hold the muffler with my hand, and I have to make sure that it's not touching anything. And then over here, I also have to make sure that I have adequate clearance. Right now it's not set up, but this is actually a lot closer to the frame rails. And at the same time, I have to make sure that this pipe gives me clearance for the quarter panel. And then the last thing that I have to make sure is, you can kind of see how the pipe kind of angles upward. Well, the pipe has to be straight in line with the quarter panel, because when I go to put a tip at the very end, the tip has to come out of the bumper right around here. And if it's angled upward, well, it's going to want to go into the bumper, and we don't want that. So that's why it has to be straight. And by making it straight, it also gives me clearance for the shackles. So all of those things I have to worry about, and the difficulty in doing it on my own is what makes it even harder. So after spending many hours with measurement tapes and constant fiddling with the exhaust, I finally got it to where I like it. You can see the exhaust pipe where it's going to exit, pretty much in line with this line. And you can see the clearance between the tailpipe and the shackle. And that's with both of them. You can see it's definitely very symmetrical. I use measurements to get those in the right places. And this is one thing that I really love. If you take a look at those two mufflers and the axle pumpkin, it's beautiful, symmetrical. Now everything is just pretty much dry fitted. It's not clamped on in place or anything like that. So that's why I have the two jacks holding the mufflers up. But you can pretty much see how it's situated. Very, very straight and very, very symmetrical. So for the front half of the exhaust, you can see here's the X pipe. What I decided was I need to put a hanger right here in this area of the X pipe. And when I removed the original exhaust, whoever did the exhaust before me, what they ended up doing was they welded a bolt right onto the floor pan of the car on both sides. So I needed to protect the grommet against that bolt because I need to use a grommet for the hanger. So you can see on the inside there's a metal sleeve. That metal sleeve came from a rod, and the inside of the rod, all I did was just drill it out so that way the sleeve fits nicely over the bolt and loosely, and at the same time it protects the grommet from damage because of those threads. And then all I got to do is just pretty much take my nut and washer and bolt that grommet into place. And so for the other side of the hanger, all I'm going to do is just take a metal rod and wrap it around this grommet going through the hole, and this rod is going to be permanent and it's going to be welded on the inside of the pipe. So my exhaust is finally installed, and I'll show you what I did. So I did some welding to the first half of the pipe, so you can see there. The welds didn't come out too bad, so I'm pretty happy with the welds. And then for the rest of the system, I used band clamps, and I basically made sure that the band clamps are symmetrical, basically a mirror image of each other. So I had to take apart one band clamp, switch around the bolts so that they match, as you see there. And I did that with every band clamp. And total amount of band clamps I used was 8. For this portion, the hangers, you can see they're installed, and the welding is on the inside of the pipe, and you can see my ugly welds. But when you're looking at the pipe, see, you can't see the welds, and that was the point. So the welds are basically under and in between the pipes. And then there's my band clamps there. You can see they're pretty much a mirror image. So now let's go to the back of the mufflers. Now for the mufflers, this was a task because I didn't want to weld to the face of the mufflers. So I decided that I wanted to put a hanger on top of the muffler so that when you're looking down the back of the car, you can pretty much see this whole area of the muffler. And that's pretty much what I wanted. So I had to fabricate these brackets. And let's see if I can get you a shot of the other one so you can see. There's my ugly welds, and I painted them black, and that's the bracket. Basically a 3/8 inch rod welded onto a steel plate, and I drilled 2 holes, and that's on either side. You can see the other one there, and it's attached to the top of the muffler with some rubber grommets, and that's how the mufflers are attached. So let me show you the final attachment point. Now looking through the wheel well, you can see there's the muffler, and the pipe goes up over the axle and in front of the gas tank. And when I attached the pipe, it gave me nice amount of clearance. And the attachment point is basically right there. And I used the mounting bracket that came with the kit. And lucky for me, my frame rail actually had the holes for this mounting bracket. So the only thing I had to do was modify the bracket to give me 2 inches more back from where it was supposed to be bolted up to, because I needed to move this exhaust pipe, the muffler pipe, back towards the back of the car 2 inches. in order to make sure that that curve right there, you can see this curve right here, bypasses the curve on the floor pan, so I can get the clearance I needed. And that's pretty much it for detachment points. And you can see the exhaust pipe, how it exits. It's nice and straight. Now this exhaust pipe, as you can see, it doesn't go all the way to the back of the car, and you can see how much more I need before it actually exits. So the exhaust system is not fully complete because I need to put another I need to put a tip. Now this was the plan always, because I don't want the tip to look like this. I want it nice and polished. So I ended up getting a polished stainless steel tip, and so I would have to cut right around here somewhere, or right around here somewhere, because I got a 22-inch tip, and we're gonna see how that works out when I get it. So I will have to remove this pipe to make the cut and weld my new tip. But that's why the exhaust is not going to be fully complete. And I couldn't buy the tip before the exhaust was done, because I needed to know how I wanted to do the tip, the measurements, etc. So this exhaust system is not going anywhere. It's nicely fixed, and it's pretty easy to dismantle the exhaust pipe, because you can see there's a band clamp there. So all I got to do is just loosen them up, and then of course loosen up the 2 bolts there, and this whole exhaust pipe comes out, and I can work on it to put my new tips. So here's a shot of the exhaust system finally installed. So you can see how symmetrical those 2 mufflers are in comparison to where the rear axle is. That came out beautiful. Let's give you an under look, a shot under the car. So going down, you can see there, that looks pretty sweet, nice and straight. I really am happy with the results of it. So let me show you the look down the front of the car. So here's a look down the front of the car. You can see the header is right over here, up here in the corners, and there are my pipes, and you can see how nice the band clamps look. You know, basically a mirror image of them, of each other. And there are my mufflers. So, and the axle is straight down the center. Very, very pleased with this layout. Very pleased. Took me a long time to get it to where I like it, but I'm very happy, and it's fully fixed, and I don't have to deal with no more exhaust. The only thing I have to do now is deal with the tailpipes. So that pretty much completes the mock-up and now install of the exhaust system. I'm very happy with the Pypes product, how it laid out. I only had to do one modification. That was to the bracket, and then of course I had to do my own fabrication for the hangers and such, but in the end you can't see any of the hangers, which is what I wanted, so I'm very happy with the results. So hope you enjoyed tagging along. The next video will be on the final install of the last tailpipe, and finally getting to hear what this exhaust system sounds like with my Chevy Nova. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.